I can't believe it's already been a year of me just talking to a camera. This is freaking crazy. Thanks for sticking. Oh, what a year it's been. Ladies and gentlemen, to my subscribers, thank you for seeing me through this. And if you stuck with me through my hiatus, thank you. I learned trying to juggle too many things at one time kind of led me to what I felt like was getting lazier when it came to making my videos and researching for videos. So I was able to take the break I took and kind of focus on school for a little while. And I think I needed to because I was starting to get lazier. And I think my videos, in some ways, even though I was more comfortable speaking in front of the camera, were becoming much more shoddy based on the information I was trying to put out. With that being said, thanks for sticking with me. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like what I have to say, go ahead and subscribe so you can hate watch. And let me know in the comments what you dislike about it. In the last year, we've gone through an election cycle, we've gone through COVID, we've gone through what they're considering an insurrection on January 6th. But my question to that is, after over 100 days of rioting and fires and looting in various cities throughout the United States where they attacked federal buildings and tried to barricade people in and set it on fire, how is that not an insurrection? But what happened on January 6th is an insurrection. I don't know. And that right there probably just bought me this being non-monetized, but I'm okay with that. What I've learned in the last year is it is very different. My first couple of videos, I was very uncomfortable. I got more comfortable as time went. And talking to some of the other YouTubers that have been doing this for much longer, or a couple that I'm going to bring up that have been at it about the same amount of time, maybe a little bit more. But I've talked to them more in depth, and one of them I've actually done a couple of videos with. And I'm going to add theirs in the description because if you're a subscriber and you like what I had to put out, I'm pretty sure if you care about the law, find sovereign citizens, Moorish Americans interesting, or criminal justice and sentencing reform, these two guys are something you're going to want to check out because their videos are really great. Josh at DOC TV 813 and Joe Pometto, Joe the Lawyer. Their channels are great. So if you're one of my subscribers and you trust me to give you good information, then please go subscribe to their channels and watch some of what they're putting out. Josh especially is a guy who did his time for the crimes he committed. Now he's come out the other side. And his is all about redemption and growth as human beings, and the fact that you can't just look at somebody because they've done time and consider that's all they are. You got to look at them as somebody who can come back from it, who can make a change, because all the people he interviews have made that change, as has he. And I think that's something we really need to support in this country, because going forward to next year, we are going to be discussing a lot more about criminal justice and sentencing reform, because that's something I didn't get into as much as I would have liked to, because there was so much going on with politics and, well, basically politics. But criminal justice and sentencing reform, human trafficking, and mental health issues, I'm going to start getting far more into, because those are things that are near and dear to me. I mean, I love politics, don't get me wrong, but it gets very frustrating because I don't foresee it ever changing unless the American people are ready to stand up and demand a change. And they do that by voting. January 6th is not the answer. What happened in Portland is not the answer. We vote out the corrupt pieces of shit that are there now, that are only there to enrich themselves. And yes, I'm looking at socialists like you, Bernie Sanders, who became a millionaire and have convinced me that I'm not rich enough to ever become a socialist. So let's start getting rid of these people through the voting system. That's why it's there. No conspiracies about the election or this, that, or the other. It has its problems. It always has. But we can vote out incumbents and vote new people in, and then vote them out when they don't do their jobs. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Now, going forward, I'll be putting out at least 2 videos a week. They'll be dropping on Mondays and Wednesdays because according to the algorithms, That's when I get the maximum amount of views, which, if you didn't know, part of growing your channel is the maximum views you get, or the faster you get views, the more people see it. So I got to go with that for now because I want to get the information out there as best as I can. As far as contributions, look, to be honest, I'm monetized, but I never planned for YouTube to make a living off of YouTube. I really don't need the funds to keep the videos going. As you can see, I have a big shelf full of books. No, that's actually my green screen. I have basically everything I need, and I haven't made that much money off of it. I also set up the Patreon, which I really never got into. So what I would ask is find a good cause that you truly believe in. Mine would be something to do with veterans or human trafficking or criminal justice reform, and contribute to that. Instead of even giving a thought to Patreon or something like that, go ahead and donate your money to causes like this because they're far more valuable than anything I'm going to be able to do with that money. And generally, all I'm going to do is donate it to them anyway. So please just go with that. Now, as I said, the next year, we're going to get into more criminal justice and sentencing reforms. I do think it is important, and I do think it's where we truly failed. And I'd like to remind everybody that the current president was one of the authors of the 94 crime bill, which has done more to imprison minority males than any other bill ever passed. So just keep that in mind when you go to the polls in 2024, something you may want to think about. And with that being said, nothing has happened with criminal justice reform since he's been in office, not in the last year. Nothing has happened meaningful with immigration reform. They're arguing about an infrastructure bill and a social welfare bill when there's real things that both parties could agree on that they're not touching because they refuse to cross the aisle and shake hands. As somebody who generally considers himself a conservative-leaning libertarian or just a straight independent, that's why I like people like Tulsi Gabbard, because she actually said what she thought and stood up for what she thought, even though I didn't always agree with it. And she ended up leaving. What I can tell you is if you've been a fan of my videos and you've been watching, yes, back to the original 12 who were all either family or friends. That's who it was, the original 12 subscribers I had. Go ahead and make your own channel. And I bring up the 12 because for probably about a month and a half, I had between 12 and 15 subscribers, and I had about 4 videos up, and they were doing okay. And I was starting to get frustrated, and I lost sight of the fact that anything worth it takes time to develop, and it's a process. And then I went from that to almost overnight, I jumped up to almost 300 subscribers. And I don't remember, it was one of the Antifa videos I did that I jumped up really fast. And then I did again when I did the socialism, Marxism, communism videos, which some of these I'm going to redo now that I'm more comfortable in front of the camera. And I also want to get the audio tracks, which I lost on my computer somewhere, to start podcasting. So some of the videos, if you've been with me from the beginning, are going to seem like I'm just redoing them, but that's why. I'll redo it. It'll have a little bit better content, and I'll have the audio track to add to a podcast, which is something else I want to get started on. But I am open for your ideas, especially as it comes to criminal justice and sentencing reform, some stuff with politics, and I'll still talk about inflation and some of the spending bills. And as I did with the original infrastructure bill, if it's available, I'll actually pull out a bill and read it and do a breakdown for you so you can kind of see where your money's going. When you learn the infrastructure bill wasn't truly an infrastructure bill, we're going to shove a bunch of crap into one bill and try to pass it as this, which is what they did. Human trafficking, near and dear to my heart, will be a subject that we get more into now that I've learned certain terms will automatically get your videos restricted, and you'll have to request a review. So being able to phrase things a little bit differently, and I'll get a wider audience by understanding how those things work now. And I'm going to continue to try to hold politicians accountable in my own way and ask that you start voting out incumbents. I mean, my channel is not huge, but it's growing. It's continued to grow while I was on my hiatus, even though it grew much slower. So I thank you for that, because the base of why that continued to happen was that original group of subscribers I had that followed me and supported me. And with that, I was encouraged to continue. But my social media is down in the description of the video. Please feel free to message me. It's probably actually easier to reach me on there than it is on YouTube. So if you have ideas or questions or need clarification, or even if you disagree with me, if you disagree with me about something of substance, I'm willing to do a show with you so we can have the debate, but it's going to be a civil debate. That being said, hey, thanks for a great year. Thanks for sticking with me while I was getting this stuff figured out over the last month or so. And know going forward, every Monday and Wednesday, you can pretty much guarantee I'm going to have a video up. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Please continue to share this and what I'm putting out, because I do think I'm able to help people understand things better, because they don't have time to go through it like I do. So you don't have to do it. I'll do it for you. And if you dislike what I'm saying, go ahead and subscribe and hate watch. That works too. All right, everybody have a great evening. It's been a great year.